There's one conversation that determines who gets promoted and who stays stuck. Now, your managers should be having this with you, but many are not. So I'm going to teach you how to have this conversation with yourself. In this video, I'm going to give you a simple framework to follow that will help you answer 10 questions that will reveal your promotion gaps, show how you're really positioned within your organization, and help you create a 90-day action plan that actually works. Hello, I'm Helen. I'm a leadership coach. This is what I often see happening with managers like you. You're delivering the results, you're doing great work, but you look around and you wonder, why are others getting promoted and not me? Now, you've probably also had those awkward conversations with your manager about next steps, only to walk away feeling more unsure than you were when you started. The thing is that everybody is busy, including your manager, and many don't seem to find the time to talk about this. Plus, and it's an important plus really, careers are changing so fast and the skills needed to be a successful leader are evolving rapidly, especially with AI transforming how we work. Most managers, when they have these conversations with their team, often don't share their own experience. But the context that that experience was gained can be completely different from what you are facing right now. And that's why it's really important that you take ownership of this conversation. Your manager isn't the be-all and end-all of your promotion anymore. Now, they're part of the jigsaw, and to be honest, an important part, but not the whole picture. After years of managing my own career, one thing I've really learned is that when you work this out for yourself, you just spot opportunities and connections that can help you. I remember when I was a trading director at Cadbury and we were going through the process of merging two businesses, and I was asked to take the new CEO out to do some store visits. As part of my own development, I knew that I wanted a more strategic role and more strategic experience. So on that day out, I made sure to show my credentials, my knowledge, my perspective on the issues, and then I simply asked if there was an opportunity. That conversation turned into leading part of the commercial integration of the businesses, which became a brilliant project-based role and ended up with me heading up the whole of the customer marketing department and implementing an important part of the future strategy that had been identified. The point is, you need to know your own plan so that when opportunities come along, you can make them happen for yourself. So there is an important conversation that you need to have to move your career forward, but you need to have it with yourself first. Now, I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to ask you some questions, 10 questions in total, that will give you complete clarity on your next steps. And the questions fall into 3 groups, which I call the GPS system, because just like a sat nav, you need to know where you are, where you're going, and what route you're taking. So G is for goal and gap. That's the real gap between where you are and where you want to be. P is for positioning. So how are you currently positioned in your organization? And what needs to change for you to get where you want to go? S is for strategy. So that's all about what's your action plan and what's the one thing that if you were to focus on over the next 90 days would help you get there the fastest. As I said, there's 10 questions in total. So let's jump in. First, the goal and the gap. Most people think they know what they need to work on, but often they are focusing on the wrong things. The mistake is thinking promotion is about doing your current job better, but actually it's about demonstrating you can do the next job. So here are 3 questions you need to answer honestly. Question 1, what roles are available at the next level? And what do people in those roles actually do day to day? So not the job description, although that can be really useful, but what do they spend their time on? What are the skills and knowledge you need to show you have in order to do those roles? Question 2, what would your manager's manager say you need to develop? Now, this is a good question because it makes you stand back and think about the view from somewhere completely different to where you are. It gets you out of the weeds, as it were, of your day-to-day job. And question 3, what's the one thing that if you got better at it would make the biggest difference to your impact and your influence? I see many managers focusing on technical skills when the real gap is in leadership skills, things like strategic thinking or influencing or building executive presence. Now, these skills are massively learnable, but they really involve getting out of your comfort zone to get there. Next, positioning. Now, this is about understanding how you're currently seen and what needs to shift. What you often find is that perception often trumps performance when it comes to promotion, as unfair as that might be. And you might be the best technical operator in the company, but if you're seen as just an operations person, you're going to get overlooked for more strategic roles and leadership roles. So these questions are: question 4, what am I known for in my organization right now? Question 5, what do I want to be known for? And question 6, who are the key stakeholders who influence promotion decisions, and what's their current view of you? Now, what this might reveal is that you don't necessarily know the answers to some of these questions. And what's really important then is that when you start developing your strategy and your action plan, if you don't know, then you need to find out. You need to have some great conversations with these stakeholders. Now, I'd recommend that you keep it nice and casual. Just reach out to them and say, I've been thinking about my career development. Could we grab a coffee or 15 minutes so that I could just get your thoughts? What you're doing by finding out this information is to get so much more clarity about how you're seen and what you need to do. But you're also building relationships with important stakeholders, which is equally valuable. It becomes so much easier to ask for opportunities when you've already had that conversation and built a level of connection. So this isn't about office politics. It's about strategic relationship building. The people who get promoted aren't necessarily the best at the job. They're the ones who built the right relationships and position themselves as ready for the next level. Okay, finally, strategy. So this is your action plan. And importantly, the one thing to focus on that's going to make the biggest difference. A lot of people just make their development plans too complicated. They try to work on everything at once and end up making progress on nothing. You might come up with several ideas from these questions, but the secret is to prioritize, picking one strategic focus for the next 90 days, and then just being ruthless in working against it, finding those bits of time where you can just keep moving it forward. So the questions that help you here are: question 7, based on your gap and your positioning, what are all the things that you could work on? Question 8, of all those options, what's the one thing that would make the biggest difference if you were to focus on it for 90 days? Question 9, how can you create visible opportunities to demonstrate this skill over that window of time? And question 10, who are the people around you that could help you and support you to do this? The last question is really important. The more you work with other people, the more it increases your accountability and you get great support. You're going to learn faster, and that can make all the difference between knowing what you should do, but actually finding it hard to get out of your comfort zone and actually do it. I worked with a manager who realized her gap was strategic thinking, and she'd been reading strategy books and trying to find ways of showing this knowledge. But her plan when we did this exercise was to volunteer to get on a cross-functional project, and she found a mentor who was known for strategic thinking within their organization. Within 6 months, she was having completely different conversations with the senior leadership. That's the power of focused strategic development over a short period of time with the right support. The action for this video is to have this valuable conversation with yourself. Schedule 30 minutes. Grab a coffee, find somewhere quiet, grab a notebook, really think through the questions and set up your plan. At the end of that, you might be thinking, what are the skills I should be focusing on? Well, I've created a video that shows you exactly this, where I explain the leadership ladder framework. This is a great way to think about where you are in your leadership journey and what the gaps might be in your personal development. Because when you combine knowing where you want to go and understanding exactly the skills you need to develop, that's when everything accelerates. If you're ready to transform how you lead, please remember to subscribe, because this is just one piece of the complete framework that I share. And I'll see you next week.